This podcast represents the opinions of the hosts of the Laugh Cry Club and guests on the show. The content here should not be taken as medical advice and is for informational purposes only. And because each person is so unique, please consult your healthcare professional for any medical questions. While we make every effort to ensure that the information we share is accurate, we welcome any comments, suggestions, or correction of errors. Welcome back, everybody, to the Laugh Cry Club. I am Joy.
I'm Rebecca.
I'm Chelsea, and if you are an imperfect human who laughs and cries, then this podcast is for you.
We're so glad you're here. We have a special guest today. It is Rebecca / Ted Lasso. If you're watching,
Budget
if you're
Ted.
watching some of the videos that we will post on our Instagram, you will see what we're talking about. Rebecca has dressed up today as my favorite character, Budget Ted Lasso. And it is amazing. We have the visor, we have the mustache, we have the jacket. Chelsea also has like an athletic jacket on today. I think and the whistle. I think we have.
Well, I've been out training Chelsea. We've been out on the pitch all morning long, and she's been working on that kick. And I think that we're like almost at perfection.
We're getting.
I think one more practice.
Well, and this is the point, Laugh Cry Club members. It's never too late to learn something new. It's never too late to hire a professional, in my case, Coach Lasso Rebecca, to help me to get to where I want to go, because I wasn't able to do these big giant kicks on my own. But now with her leg assistant,
I'm really great at assisting legs.
Yes.
And think about how much fun we've had out there this morning. I mean, you are improving your skill set, but you're also having a good time.
What a way to start the day.
Yeah. So Joy, tell us about this Laugh Cry.
Well,
who are we?
okay. Well, we are 3 licensed therapists who like to have a lot of fun. We started this podcast over a year ago. We are trying to normalize the human experience. We just want everyone to know that emotions are normal, feelings are normal. Life can be really difficult and challenging, but also really joyful. We laugh and we cry and we accept all the things. I think especially how difficult things can be in the world right now, it's more important than ever to connect with one another. And so we're on a mission to do that. So we start every episode with a laugh and a cry of the week. And our topic this week that we will discuss is curiosity and critical thinking and how we're having discussions. I think it's very timely given what's going on right now in the world, specifically in the US. But we think this topic will be helpful just across the board about communicating with relationships and differing opinions. And then we'll tease the topic for next week. So Chelsea, who do you want to share the laugh and cry this week first?
I am going to nominate our sweet, sweet, sweet Joy. I feel a little guilty that she wasn't there for the coaching session that happened this morning with the big kick. And Laugh Cry Club members, if you're wondering what we're doing right now, if you're confused, when I miss people in my life, I do a thing like, hey, Rebecca, let's go to the beach today. And then she'll say, cool, I'll meet you there at noon, even though she's in Texas and I'm in Alabama. And this makes me feel happy, like I'm actually living. So This morning, Rebecca and I had a whole fake date that we just discovered on this podcast. So Joy, you're getting nominated because you weren't in the Kick Club Lasso. So you're
I get to go first.
So you get to go first in order to keep things fair.
I didn't get the benefit of Ted Lasso coaching, so I'm going to go first. Yes. And I love that you do that, Chelsea. I think it's so fun. We started that this week with our group text with all of the people that went to your house a couple weekends ago. So, and it's so fun. It's like, all right, let's go kayaking today. And we just kind of relive that and act like we're going to meet up. But I highly recommend people do that if you're missing someone in your life. Okay, my laugh and cry this week. My laugh is featuring wonderful Ted Lasso Rebecca. Rebecca has started. I love when people embrace my love for Taylor Swift and just like don't make me feel weird about it. Roll with the flow, embrace it. Like I have friends and family members who will legit just go on the merch store if they need to get me a birthday gift, any Christmas gift, and they just buy me merch from Taylor Swift store. They don't think it's weird. I have so much Taylor Swift sweatshirts, t-shirts. So like, I love this. And so the other day I get a text message voice memo from Rebecca and she says, I'm starting a new game for you. Guess the Taylor Swift song. And it is legit Rebecca just going, like humming.
I don't know the words.
Humming the most ridiculous tunes. No words, just a just a tune, and I have to guess the Taylor Swift song. Guess what? I have gotten both right, even though she has.
You have. Yeah.
Can we please have just like a 3-second sample of
Rebecca.
you doing the thing, of you giving? This is the voice memo that Rebecca leaves for Joy. Ready, set, go. Okay, I would.
Yep. And I swear it makes me laugh. Which that. Okay, now we might get sued because we're running into actual.
Okay, tighten up, guys. Tighten up. Taylor, we love you. Please do not sue. Well, actually, I mean, I really
that as Ted Lasso, so we're like a double whammy right now.
Oh my God! For fuck's sake, Rebecca.
Please don't come after. Please don't come after us.
Team.
Yeah, don't come after
Okay.
us. But yes, we will. She will sing songs, and I will guess the tune. And I've been right so far, 2 out of 2. I hope to keep the streak going. But that has been so freaking funny, and they come out of nowhere. They're unpredictable. So it's like whenever Rebecca just maybe happens to listen to a Taylor Swift song, and she sends me a voice memo, and then it's like
that's actually what it is. It's like whatever I'm like, oh, I'm gonna listen to this song because it's a slippery slope with Taylor Swift.
It really is.
I have to say I'm a convert now, thanks to Joy, and yeah.
Okay. Well, it's really funny. She'll get you. She really will. Anyway, so that's my laugh. It's so great, and it makes me just cry tears. My cry was this past weekend. I had the pleasure of going to a celebration of life for one of my friend's fathers who passed away. I'd never met her father, but I've been friends with her for ages. Through the Canine Companions volunteer work that I do. And she's just a lovely, 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 lovely human. And so we were invited to the celebration of life. I never knew him, never met him, but just to hear people pouring love out to someone. Chelsea, I know you're so close to this, but it's just like I was sitting there because I didn't know him personally. I was like not really expecting to get like super emotional, but at the end, when the final speech was given by one of his kids, it was just like so beautiful and lovely, and to see all the people that were in this room. And he made such an impact on the medical community in Denver, in Colorado, that like it was just palpable how much love was there. And then he also served in the military, so they played taps, and that just gets me every time. So like, because my uncle passed away a few years ago and he was in the military, and so I kind of had this like reliving too of taps being played at my uncle's funeral, and I just completely lost it to where it was like such a cathartic cry with people in public. And I felt really grateful to be able to spend time with people that I also knew in the community from Canine Companions. And afterwards we had just a lovely chat, and it was like we didn't sit and cry afterwards, like we all kind of collectively cried together, but then we went out and, you know, had some beverages on the terrace and talked and laughed, and it was like that beautiful like moment of honoring someone who lived a really wonderful, beautiful life, and then also spending time with people that you love. So that was my cry. And it was just like one of those moments where you're like, oh, life is so precious. Life is so beautiful. So it was really grateful.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it's such a good reminder that there's that contagious impact, positive and negative, in life, and all the in between. But when somebody, I mean, and yeah, shout out to our military. Thank you to anybody who's been of service. We see you and we thank you. I think it's an important reminder that, you know, when we leave, we're not gone. We can carry on through all these different people, even if they didn't know us, just through the stories, just by the way that somebody lived their life. And that is such a beautiful thing. Thank you for sharing that, Joy.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. It just like, I'm just so grateful for this podcast too, because I feel like anytime I have those moments, I think I've become more present because of this podcast. And so I think that's something that I'm really grateful for. Okay, I'm going to pass it over to wonderful Kickmaster Chelsea.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Okay, I'm going to start with my cry because I want to end on my laugh, because my laugh is so good. Okay, so my cry. Ooh, nauseating. My closet. Okay, if you don't know me, I will self-disclose that I am a very tidy individual. I really like cleanliness. I wake up and I like candles in my home. I like everything smelling good. I like things clean. I clean the house and I move from seat to seat because it brings me so much joy.
I can confirm that your house smelled amazing and your house was very clean.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I love it. But what didn't happen, I don't think you saw when you came out. Sarah did, one of our friends. She took a shower in my room and she saw the horrendous walk-in closet situation. This is not a big walk-in closet, but it's big enough that you should be able to walk in and pick out clothing. Well, let me tell you, Laugh Cry Club members, what's been going on in my closet. My closet is used by myself, my son, and my daughter. And my late husband's clothing was all still in this closet. And we all wear his clothing. So every night we're all going in and picking out clothes. And then if you're a visitor, you might want to wear some of his clothes, or you might want like a cool band t-shirt or something. So I will say, go in the closet and pick something out. Fun fact. The more you do that, the more of a disaster the closet becomes, because there's too many people doing it and there's not enough people, meaning me, cleaning it up afterwards. So I'm just leaving shit everywhere. It got so bad that the last time I did my laundry, I folded everything and I put it on the bed, and I'm like, I cannot step into my closet without stepping on something. This is unacceptable. And I've been procrastinating. And why do we procrastinate? Because every time I went into that closet, it was a mirror that my husband has said. By procrastinating, I gave myself the gift of annoyance by every time I went in being like, oh my God, there's shit everywhere. And that feeling feels a lot better to me than the reality. So I called a helper, my cousin. It's my cousin's daughter, so she's my cousin. And she is the sweetest little girl ever, Chuckers. And I called her to ask her for help because she loves organizing. And I was like, do you want to earn some money? Oh my gosh. I had breakdowns cleaning out the closet. It took me 2 days. I was holding on to things. I held on to his backpack, the last thing he packed when he was in the hospital, to go home, crying. And my sweet little cousin, Chucky's, she looks over and she's like, Chelsea, she's 10. She's like, Chelsea, Steve is so proud of you right now because he knows you don't like a mess.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And she's like, and you're just going to take, she goes, you're just going to take as many breaks as you need to. And I'm just going to stay here and help you. And it was so much. And I didn't get rid of anything. I went through every single piece of clothing and folded every single piece of clothing. And then I just moved it to another closet. So at least it's a closet in the hallway where everybody can have access. That's only his stuff.
It's dedicated to Steve's stuff. Yeah.
It's dedicated to Steve's stuff. And I'm not ready to, and I don't know if I will be, because Miles will grow up and Steve has a lot of really cool, unique stuff. That's fun. That if I was a 6'4" man, I would wear. So that was my cry. It was brutal. It was hard. I broke down over and over again, and my closet is clean. Now it's a different feeling that I have. It's a different feeling. It's organized and I feel proud of myself. And it was really, 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 really brutal. Okay.
But what a beautiful thing to say, Chelsea, where she says, you just take the time that you need. That's just adorable.
So sometimes, kids, I don't think adults give kids enough credit with how in tune they are. And I think this, like, if you just allow them to be and say what they need to say, like, they have just a wealth of knowledge.
There's a freshness you get of just authentic wisdom that you don't, it's so unscripted. It's so authentic. People don't know what to say in these situations. This is a hard situation. And for her to intuitively know and be able to say that to me at 10 years old, I mean, after Steve died, when I was like really shut down the first 2 weeks, besides like my kids and my girlfriends, Chuckers was the only one I could hang out with. I would be like, do you want to go to the beach with me? Like, can we do yoga together? Like, she just I don't know. There's just kids are magic. They are magical, and we dismiss them so often. I mean, I don't know if everybody does, but listen, lean in and listen. This kid saved me over and over again, along with my own and lots of randos.
I love those randos. That's so cute, though. That just warms my heart. Thank you for sharing that. And big hug to Chuckers. What's her legal name? Is that a nickname?
Charlotte Joe.
Oh, Charlotte Joe.
Charlotte Joe.
And you call her Chuckers? That's so cute. That's so cute.
Oh my God, she's so cute. When she came over and I was like, look at this mess. And she looks at me and she puts her little hands on her hips and she goes, Chelsea, I've seen worse. So cute. I'm so obsessed. Okay, which leads me to my laugh of randos. So we know I'm in my living big era, doing the opposite of what I want to do. So what I want to do is stay in bed all day. What I want to do is do nothing. And what I am doing is putting back all of these pieces of myself that have been shattered. So I think of it like a puzzle piece. And I've also added like an extra 1,000 pieces of complicated pieces that I'm like, I don't know where these fit. So I'm doing the opposite. And in therapy, we call it opposite action. I'm saying yes instead of saying no. And my rando story is Friday night fun. My girlfriend and I decided to go country line dancing. Chelsea, are you a country line dancer, you might ask? And the answer is no. It was like doing cardio, like with pros, or like an aerobic class. And it was amazing.
Zumba.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was amazing. So we didn't last long there. Then we go to this other bar closer to home. And I see this group of people walking in clown outfits. One of them's wearing those blow up costumes. I think it's like a blow up dog, like a Dachshund, but there's room for 2 people.
I don't think I've seen that.
Oh my God. Well, I have photos. So this group of people walk downstairs. The bar is in upstairs and downstairs. We're back at the Ice House. We went there. So there's upstairs and downstairs. So we had gone upstairs and we go downstairs and this group comes and I'm like, holy fuck, these are my humans. They're young. What is happening? I want to know everything. So I'm like cheering for them. As soon as they come down, I'm like, whoop, whoop, oh my God, like la, la, la. And they're like, oh my God, we just walked in upstairs and everybody just looked at us like we were idiots. And so we decided to come down here. And I was like, oh, the fuck you are going to come down here if you want to be up there. So I looked at one of the guys, the husband or boyfriend or whatever, who was in the blow up dog outfit. And I was like, can I take your place? And he was like, what? And I'm like, can I get into this costume with your lady?
Oh my gosh, I love it.
So these women, there's like 4 couples. These women are like getting me in over my cowboy boots. Like we're getting me all in this. We're blowing up the costume. I see a rando hat that went with somebody else's. It's like a blinged out pink hat. I put on the hat and I'm like, come upstairs. So we go in. And I'm like, we're going to dance. And we just danced. And then I took him into the magical bathroom. There's a magical bathroom in the Ice House. And if you push the button in the women's bathroom, it goes dark and turns into a disco party of Ice Ice Baby.
Oh my God. Sarah sent that video. That was it.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Well, the cool thing is it says, do not push this button.
Don't push it.
Under any circumstances. And it's this huge round red button. It's like obviously you need to push it. And when you push it, the lights go out and all of a sudden Ice Ice Baby comes on. And that is the funniest shit I've ever seen.
Oh my God.
It was so good.
So I'm with these rando women and I'm like, we're all going in the bathroom. And they're looking at me and I'm like, they're like, what are we doing in the bathroom? I was like, oh, we're going in and we're going in together, all 4 of us. And I'm in the dog costume, this blow up costume. We go in and they're like, is this girl going to give me blow? Like, what is this woman doing is she going to try and make out? Like, what? Why would a random woman want to take other random women in the bathroom? Whatever your mind thinks, I'm sure they were thinking something like this. Little did they know about the fun big red light button. Mm-hmm. So I pushed that button and we just start dancing. We had so much fun. We came out dancing. They had a whole corrective emotional experience. The top of the bar people started having fun. Everybody was having fun. And then I was like, and now we're dipping out. Losers who judge these awesome people. We're going to go back downstairs. It was wonderful. It was wonderful.
I love this. I can't wait to. You have to post pictures. That sounds amazing. I need to see this costume. I need to see this hat.
It was so fun. Oh, so that was my rando encounter. And I just was like, keep saying yes. Keep living.
Keep living.
And stop judging, okay? Yeah, stop judging because you're not fun enough to put on a random costume. They were from Arkansas. Rebecca, shout out to Rebecca. They were from Arkansas. And they're making it their tradition to pick out horrible costumes for each couple. Each couple picks out a costume for the other couple, and then they have to wear it for a night out on vacation. And
that is like, so fun.
Where have you been my whole life, and how have I never thought of this?
Oh, my gosh.
I know.
That's a great idea.
It's a great idea. Okay, bingo, popcorn over to Lasso, Ted, Rebecca, friend, work wife, good friend, awesome friend, best friend, regular wife, all the things. How many things can Rebecca be? Smart.
Her mustache is falling off.
I love this. This is great.
The mustache is falling off, though. It's okay.
My mustache, I can't smile. It keeps popping off on one side. So I'm like,
okay,
reapply.
Well, okay. What you got?
Oh, gosh. This is a laugh cry combo. So I had to go back to the dentist this week. Because last week I had a fantastic time. But I found out like there was this tooth they had been watching for a while. And they're like, yeah, let's go ahead and do the thing, right? Before it becomes a bigger issue. And I'm like, cool. So they're like, how's 8 a.m. sound next week? And I'm like, who wants to go to the freaking dentist at 8 a.m.? But I'm like, sure, I'll do it. So go in. So the dentists are like a husband and wife team, and I like them both, but I really like if there's any drilling done for her to do it. And so, because I'm like, listen, you need to make sure you Novocaine the shit out of my mouth, please, because I do not want to feel this. And she's like, I got you. So go to the dentist. I'm laying there. Game show's on above me. It's the Cash Cab out of New York, right? Great game show. Love it. So it's all trivia. And it's so old, right? So they're all, masked up. My mouth is freaking wide open, my small little mouth. And they're just cracking me up. And and I have a wedge in my mouth, right? Because I need to work on one side. So they have a wedge in there. And I'm like, my freaking jaw is killing me, but I'll eventually get over this. But the assistant is like, oh, yeah, I watched this really great documentary about Jim Bakker. And she's like, the dentist is like, oh, and she's like, yeah, the televangelist. She's like, yeah, I know. She's like, yeah, I think the assistant was like, yeah, he was married to, I think, Tina Fey. And I'm laying there like, that is not true, but okay, this is freaking hilarious. And then
Tina Fey?
Yeah, Tina Fey.
Wasn't it Tammy Baker?
Yeah.
Even I know this.
And I'm like trying to communicate, and the dentist is like, yeah, so that's really hilarious. He was married to a comedian. And I'm like dying here. My mouth is wide open. I'm dying. And she's like, yeah, it's like, I believe it's, and then I was like, it's hey. And so they're like, oh yeah, it's Tammy Faye Baker. So it was hilarious. I'm like, Jimmy Baker did not marry Tina Fey. Okay. Totally different, like, generations here. That was going on. And then they're like, the dentist is like, yeah, my husband was telling me I should like watch this show. It's about these televangelists. I can't think of the name. And she's like, the assistant's like, yeah, I can't think of it either. And I'm like, I hit headphones. And they're like, they lean in and they're like trying to listen to me. And I'm like, crisis gemstones. And then finally the dentist just like grabs that wedge out. And I'm like, righteous gemstones. And they're like, yes, that's it. Wedge back in. Hilarious. It was the most comical thing ever because they just keep chatting above me. And I'm like,
you're like, I have the answers. You have the answers.
I have the answers for you. And then they're like answering the trivia questions. And I'm like answering. I'm like, oh, like kind of the whole thing. Oh, so hilarious.
Funny. And why? Why does this always happen at the dentist?
I know.
Where they're like talking.
Yeah.
I have full conversations with my mouth.
Yeah.
Open.
Getting worked on, and there's no words for me to say because I'll throw up or gag or something like that.
It was so great. It was like a whole comedy routine. And then at one point, like somebody got into the cash cab and they're like introducing themselves. And he said, oh, I'm so-and-so. And then my dentist is like, I'm Janet, like from, the Sound of Musical or
the SNL,
Sound of Music.
The SNL music. Are you talking about the joke one where it's SNL where they're like, Kristen Wiig has the tiny hands?
The Sound of Music when you go down the thing and they're like, I'm Janet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the kids, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. You had to, because you wouldn't know it's freaking hilarious unless you knew the musical. And I'm just like, this is killing me. It was like a freaking comedy routine happening above me.
Wait, so your laugh and cry went together. Then did you cry?
Well, I was laughing so hard I was crying. But and then, it's like a cry when you even know you have to go because they're like, oh, like, and you're like, no, I floss every day. I do this thing. God. And they're like, well, you have your tiny teeth and, it's a thing. And so we have to, let's do it now before it comes like a root canal. And I'm like, yes, please, let's do this. So yeah, it was just, it's a whole thing. It was so funny. Even I was in the waiting room and I was just there with one other woman and then they called me back and I'm just like, wish me luck, and walked back. And everybody's just like clapping for me when I was going back. It was so funny.
Dental stuff, in my opinion, is like the worst. I have a really hard time. Yeah, I will cry. I mean, I tear. I'm like very traumatized. There's something about the mouth, and I'm half my body's tattooed. No biggie. Fine. Dental is definitely a cry, and I always feel like I'm walking out, and I'm like, it's like, oh, your insurance only covered 50 cents.
Yeah.
And so now you're going to
50 cents.
Now you're going to pay $1,400. And I'm like, same, Rebecca. I'm a psycho flosser brusher. I love my teeth. I'm I'm like, why? How is this happening to me? Ugh, such a cry.
It happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my laugh and cry. But one thing I did, I took some video before and after, and I'll post it when this episode drops, because I said to myself, I want to lean into curiosity when I go in here. And I'm just going to be curious about this whole thing and the people. And I just feel like it led to a better experience being curious about it and being interested in, like, how's my body feeling? And honestly, it was great. My freaking mouth was so numb and these people were entertaining me. It was amazing. So yeah, let's talk about curiosity today.
Okay.
And I think I'm Ted Lasso. I call myself Budget Ted because I am not the real Ted Lasso. I just want to break that to everyone. But Budget Ted. And so I want to really encourage you, because something that Ted Lasso always does on the show is talking about being curious and not judgmental. And I feel like that really goes in line with what we're talking about today.
So, fun fact, curiosity neutralizes judgment. So authentic curiosity neutralizes judgment. And if you want to see this in action, Ted Lasso would be a great show to really watch somebody who continues to show up curious. Kicking us off with a fun fact, what do y'all think? How do we authentically show up and be curious and make a flexible brain for ourselves?
I think this could be an entire podcast in and of itself, just a podcast all about curiosity, because rethinking, being curious, challenging our thoughts, challenging our beliefs is so powerful, especially in this day and age. I've been thinking a lot about this, especially with, we won't get into like current events, but there's a lot of current events that are really dividing people that I'm seeing. People are getting very angry, and I'm seeing a lack of curiosity. And I think a lot of people, which leads to suffering, which leads to people being upset. Maybe there's some depression happening, because I hear a lot, and I'm on social media with other podcasts too, where I'm like seeing people go, how do I handle this? This is so hard. And social media is really taking over a lot of our discussions. And I think that's snuffing out curiosity, because we aren't meant to have discussions like this I don't think we can truly be curious in terms of having a discussion with another human. I don't think we can really exercise curiosity on social media. So I think that's thing one that's been top of mind, especially with current events happening in our world right now. Connection and creativity and curiosity in relationships make sure that you're picking the right forum to have that happen. You want to have the right environment for curiosity. So that's just kind of top of mind, because so much of what we do these days is through social media, but it's not a place where we can truly be curious with each other. Something that I also recently saw was just kind of this discussion around how rage sells online, and that we also need to be careful of our algorithms, because when rage is prevalent in what we're consuming, it will continue to feed you more rage, and that just completely shuts us down from having productive conversations. So how we then move to being critical thinkers and being curious is, I think, very, very much a simple start with asking better questions. So for example, I think in the past for me, I would see something, let's take, for example, like we're talking about online, and I would immediately form a judgment, and I would immediately get mad and immediately get rageful, instead of sitting back, taking a pause and asking a question to myself or asking a question of someone else. So I think it's step one is to take a pause and asking questions versus snapping to judgments. Curious to know what you think.
I think even prior to like that part of things is, I think of curiosity kind of on this like basic conversational human level of just like, and kids do this so well, of just like being like, it's almost like mindfulness, like being open to what you're seeing in your environment. And it's like, oh, you see something, you go and you inspect it. Like, what is this? I'm curious. I want to understand more about it. Or just the randos like Chelsea talks about, like these random people, like you're checking out at the store and somebody has a shirt on that you're like, oh, I saw that band too. Or did you have a good time at that show? Like you can strike up and have the best conversations with people that you wouldn't have if you weren't being curious. It's like I made a point when I went into the dentist's office yesterday to be curious and chat up like every single person I came into contact with. I could have just shut that down and been like, I'm here for one thing. Let's do this thing and I'm out. But I was intentional about like talking to people and actually seeing them.
Rebecca, I really like what you're saying. You said I was intentional about talking to people and really seeing them. When I interpret that, when I look at a person in front of me, or, in times of like chaos, I will radically eliminate social media from my life. Other than like posting things professionally or posting like something happy, I really try to not get into the ick of the disconnect. When I'm having because these are bigger conversations, right? When we're seeking to understand, that is a conversation. That's not a one line, Joy, to your point. That's not a one line thing. That's like a lot of information. There's a lot of big feelings. There's a lot of all of that. So when we're looking to be curious, we have to be present, and we forget this because we are all biased. Our brain is wired to be biased because it protects us. When we're looking to be curious, that is creating brain flexibility, to your point, Rebecca, like a little kid. So when I'm looking at the person in front of me, if I'm really trying to be curious, it's listening, active listening, not thinking about what my rebuttal is, not thinking about what I'm going to say, seeking to understand, asking questions. And I believe most people are good. I believe most people are good. I believe there's very few evil, like all the way evil people in this world. But what we start to see is this rage, this disconnect, this like all this ugliness that comes up when we get stuck in disconnect. And it's hard. It's really hard. So if you can start by getting curious with yourself, what does this feel like to me? What does this bring up for me? What's this like for me to hear this thing, to read this thing, to see this thing? How can I connect with myself in a compassionate way? That's what I would say is my step one, is to reconnect with myself, because there's absolutely no way I'm going to be curious and be able to connect with another human if I'm not self-connected first. If I'm disjointed, if I'm fragmented, if I'm in a state of heightened emotions, if I'm in reactivity, and I can't even connect with myself and I'm jumping out of my own skin to then get into it with somebody else, we're not going to be curious. So we have to slow down that reactivity. And I do that by reconnecting with me.
That's a good one. What would you say to people like right now, because there is so much rage and like injustice and people being like, I'm so upset about what's happening. But what do I do with that? I think there's a lot of like, what do we do with that? Because there seems to be so much disconnect in the world. What would you say as far as like steps to take? Would it be the same, or at least?
I mean, it can be really similar. I think number one, we all recognize that when we're seeing a lot of disconnect in the world, it shakes our foundation. It makes us feel very unsafe. It makes us question things. It makes us want to look to blame. It makes us want to look to have a solid, concrete answer in order for us to be safe. My opinion, I don't know whether this is right or wrong, is that we have so much information, so much false information, so many things that create even more confusion, that I would say if you can limit some of those things, I'm not saying bury your head in the sand, but I'm saying if you can kind of limit how much you're taking in until you get reconnected with yourself, that's a really good place to start. That, like recognizing this is scary. My nervous system is heightened right now. I'm feeling overwhelmed right now. That would be kind of a starting point. And then to start to protect. So my next step is what's in my locus of control. And we know what I do because I've talked about it. When I don't know what to do, I try to be of service to the person in front of me. I try to do something for somebody else. I wouldn't say that I avoid brave conversations, but I'm intentional and I try to see people as people, regardless of what your beliefs are. I think we all really want the same thing, right? Like we all want to be safe. We all want our loved ones to be safe. We all want to be loved and seen and respected, right? Like there's certain kind of universal truths, I think that are all like a common thread of being a human. And so
I just want to interrupt really quick because that's so important. The universal truths, like we have lost sight of just the universal truths of us wanting to be human, wanting to be safe, wanting to be loved. I needed to pause there because I'm like, that is, people take that in. We have lost sight of that with everything that I see.
So I seek to see the same rather than the difference. So my conversations, especially with people who have very different values, different beliefs, so that is, where is the common ground? How are your children doing? How are you feeling? Like I try to really go towards what we actually can control and then learn about a person from that perspective. It is something that I like about where I live. And I know there's a lot of, I don't know, I can't speak for the whole South or the whole state of Alabama, but I can talk about the area where I live, where there's a lot of transplants. There's a lot of people from different places. When I first moved here, nobody asked me what I did for a living. People asked me, do you have family? Are you happy here? Like, how are you enjoying, or how are you experiencing? They wanted to know those things. And it made me feel seen. Whereas coming from California, it was very different. Like, where do you work? You're kind of looking at someone's car they drive. Like, you're looking at maybe more of the superficial. So I try to hone into that. Like, we all have families. We all have people who we love. We all have these same things. I want to know about that because the other shit I can't do anything about, or I can only do a very limited amount of stuff about. And I'm not trying to change anyone's mind, but I don't want to lose the disconnect because when the world gets scary, I think we all want to disconnect. I do. Yeah. I want to put my head over. Yeah. I want to delete everything. I want to become invisible. I want to be like, keep me safe, keep me safe. But I know that there's a whiplash in that. It's like the opposite that I talked about earlier.
I just want to reiterate to people that, as I was thinking this week, that again, we are not meant to take in this much information. We really aren't. I don't remember seeing this much disconnect, growing up over the state of the world. It's always been there. It's always been there. But the disconnect has been so, I don't know, disturbing for me to see because I think we are not meant to see everyone's reactions all the time. We're just not meant to see that. And I think what's important to me, what you were saying too, Chelsea, is connecting with actual people, connecting with your close groups of friends, connecting with your group chats. That's where you work out your feelings instead of...
Hold on, let me pause. Yeah. That's where you work out your feelings, not putting it on blast for the entire universe. These are conversations to connect, to process, to talk through, to work through. And instead, we see the reactivity, and that is dangerous.
Yep.
Curiosity should be based on empathy and respect to other people, and what you see online is not that.
Yes,
not always, but a lot.
But a lot of times, I will say too, people will disguise they'll say, I'm being curious and having conversations about people, when it's actually disguised another intent behind it. And that intent is to shame, embarrass, or control people. And that is not real curiosity, because curiosity is found on being able to be empathetic and respectful to people. And it doesn't mean that you have to like abandon your moral compass, right? Like you can have conversations and try to understand and be like, okay, maybe I don't agree with that. And then we leave it at a day, but we don't like continue to escalate a conversation to where now it's like, I hate you. I want to wish you bodily harm. And I think we have abandoned ourselves and like the goodness of people. We are not considering our tone, intent of what we're saying. And that is where we get into the slippery slope, and it gets very dangerous. I want to say, like, it's easier also for some people to be more curious than others. There are marginalized groups in this country or across the world that cannot maybe really lean into curiosity, or when somebody's asking them questions, be like, you know what, maybe this is what my family structure is, because that could be really dangerous for them. So I want to just say, like, I recognize too, there are certain populations in this world that they want to be curious, but sometimes when people are being curious towards them, they don't feel safe. And I would say always keep yourself safe. That goes into the boundaries. Like, we all should have boundaries about curiosity too. There may be certain things like I'm not going to share with certain people because that's unsafe for me as a person.
Yeah, I love what you said about abandoning, like we are abandoning ourselves. And it's so easy to get caught up. I mean, all of the swirl of social media and media in general is really grabbing onto you and playing mind tricks with you and feeding you information that you agree with. And so that is where I think curiosity can be even more powerful, where anything that you are being fed through the media, being fed through social media too, is to be curious about everything. Be curious and say, am I seeing all the same things here? Am I seeing differing opinions? Am I seeing different voices? And I think that it can be scary for people who maybe aren't used to hearing other opinions to just be curious about it. Just ask a question, or just let yourself hear someone who you may not agree with, because that's really where we grow. And it all has to do with growth here, personal growth. We are never going to accomplish a productive argument, a productive conversation will never, ever, and I 1000% agree with myself saying this. I'm pretty sure there's no data out there, but I'm going to say it, is I 1000% agree that you will never have a productive conversation on social media. It will never end well. It will never come across clearly unless you're sitting face to face or on the phone with someone where you can hear their voice. I think that we need to really rethink how we're engaging, especially now. I think now is a really important time to evaluate how we show up in our lives, being curious, and that we do so in a way where it's with people that you feel safe with, to work it out. We don't have to, I think there's also this idea that we have to have it perfectly. We have to get it right every time, or else someone's going to be like, I can't believe you said this. Like, we aren't meant to have opinions online, because we are supposed to get it wrong. And what we do is get it wrong with the comfort of our friends, where our friends can say, actually, I think this way. I think this is a really ongoing discussion to have, but I'm really glad that we were able to kind of run through some of these ideas today.
I want to tie this back to, like, because we, in the previous episodes, we kind of been talking about this humanistic connection, like how to make friends as adults. It really starts with curiosity, because if you're not curious about this person or whatever it is you're doing together, then there's not really an opportunity for connection then. So it always starts with curiosity. That's how you get to know people and then become connected.
And I want to wrap us up before we talk about next week's topic with curiosity is a learning brain. A learning brain means that you are taking in information that you may or may not know. It is not seeking out information or seeking out a conversation with somebody who's just going to regurgitate what you said. That is not a curious mind. You may get affirmation, you might get validation, but if we're really interested in having the safety of curiosity, and that creates the safety of human connection, because we feel safer when we can understand the person in front of us. And we do this as therapists all day. We work with all kinds of people who say things, who have different belief systems. My job as a therapist is to work on myself so that when you show up in my therapy session, our therapy session together, I can be neutral and I can be coming from my therapist brain, not my biased brain, because my job is to seek to understand you and your experience and what you think and what you feel. And I have learned more in the past 20 years about humans and I've worked with everything, gangbangers, murderers, people with infidelity. I mean, every single judgment you could have, I've worked with. And I'll tell you this, out of everybody who I've worked with, I think I've had one person who I would say was truly an evil human being. I would say the rest had their own trauma, had their own issues, had their own belief systems, had their own experiences that created to a way that created disconnect. So it makes us feel safer when we can seek to understand and see the whole picture, which leads us to next week's topic, which is called cognitive distortions. Is your brain flexible, you might ask? I don't know. We're going to
find out.
Yeah, we're going to learn about cognitive distortions. We'll talk about cognitive dissonance, and we're going to talk about creating that mental flexibility in order to have a brain that can be curious, that can learn, that can grow. And we'll go into some kind of like very definitive, like these are cognitive distortions and how to create some flexibility with those.
Teach you how to pivot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pivot. Mental flexibility.
Yeah.
So until next time, y'all, be curious.
Be curious.
Stay curious.
Be kind. We love you.
We do.
Bye, everybody.
We do.
Bye.
That's life, baby.